Yeah, we're
Okay.
live.
And we're live. So I'm going to go on Facebook and do what we gotta do, which is share. Um, and I hope that all your fans turn up.
And we have a few, yeah.
And you have a few already. I'm really happy for you guys. You guys are growing so fast.
Yeah,
You
slowly
guys,
but surely,
you need to
we're
share
getting
your
there.
you need to share your secret. What's the secret to this quick social media growth? And especially because it looks
I don't
organic.
know if it's quick, but slowly but surely we're going there. I don't know, just constant, just putting out entertaining content out there, inviting guests that can be able to articulate their stories and their
Mhm,
experiences well. So I think that
mhm.
helps a lot.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you guys even exist, because
Right? Because,
yes,
yeah, if you check the space, there's not a lot of space
there's
for men in
none.
the market.
No,
And
no.
you can go out and you see there's a lot of talk shows. Women have it easy in terms of having
Okay.
their ideas out there, but there's not a lot of men.
I
So
feel like women are just more, it's not that we're bolder. I feel like we're just more
you're
open.
more expressive.
Yes, yeah.
Women are more expressive in their ideas. They are more social in terms of they like social harmony. They try to get opinions of other people, share their experiences. Men,
Not so much.
not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah. So um,
Anyway, we have a few people here. Hi. I
hello
can
everybody.
Hi everybody. The thing is, Facebook has changed. Before when people are joining your stream, you can actually see them, but if you're not
Right.
using an app right now, you can't. So
Okay.
if you're here, say hello to us in the comments. So let's know you're watching. So say
Hi
hello
everybody.
in the comments. Good evening. Welcome to the Goretti Show. Don't leave. I hope you're sharing because that's what we're doing. Sharing, 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 sharing. Hi, Brigitte. Of course, men are necessary. Okay, that's great. That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, Brigitte. You're joining us from YouTube. Thank you so much. And where are you joining us from tonight, Brigitte? What part of the world? Please share, 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 and invite more people. We're so glad to have Idle Park Talk Show tonight. And we have a special guest joining us again later. And we're going to really, really be honest and open and talk about these. And for the men who are already watching, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day in arrears.
And well, we celebrate till the end of
No,
June.
men don't do that. We just have one day that we get to manage.
Oh, man, we love you guys like that anyway. But happy Father's Day. Brigitte is joining us from Germany. Thank you so much. I hope you have lovely weather in Germany today. So we're just going to give you one more minute. We're asking you to share, invite your friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hi, Ngozi is joining us from Lagos. Hi, Ngozi. Thank you, darling.
You
So
see, I can't see the comments, so I can't tell where people are
don't
joining. But
worry.
wherever you're joining from, I'm happy you're here today.
You're going to have a field day much later after the show. You take your time, go through and respond to your fans because we
Right.
have an amazing show for you all tonight. Hi, Mercy. Mercy, where you joining us from tonight? So I'm sharing on WhatsApp, sharing on social media. So please share. Let's get up to at least 20 people watching live and then we talk because this is a very important topic.
Yeah.
We need to talk about men, but we're talking about it from different, us on how we do from a different angle tonight, and we need to. Some emotions are going to be, rocked. So, so we need many people. So we have.
Right.
Hi, Immaculate is watching us from South Africa. Hey, thank you for watching, Immaculate. I hope you've invited everybody in your circle to come watch the show tonight. That's what I'm doing tonight. I'm sharing. So please, please, please share.
Guys, please
Rotary,
share and invite your friends. Tell your friends to tell their friends.
exactly. And Roderick is here joining us from
From Calgary, Canada.
Cal.
Um,
Do you know I call that place Calgary? Is
I
that
know.
not where? Is
That's
that
the
not
first
where?
when that's how they know someone is new to the place. When you call it Calgary, they know
Mhm.
your journey just come. But your pronunciation is Calgary.
It's Calgary.
Yeah.
Hello, Calgary. And also, um, so I'm sharing, guys. That's what I'm doing. So we need to we're starting in 1 minute. 1 minute and we'll dive right into it. Hey, hi, Belle is joining us from Mali. Oh, wow, what an international show tonight.
That's interesting.
Tonight. I, I hope you've shared it on your page. Hi, Doralice. Welcome. Where you joining us from tonight? Send some love, guys. Let's see some hearts. Let Goretti know that she's doing something right. And for all the men who are watching quietly as usual, happy Father's Day. Don't be a stranger because tonight we're talking about you guys and we need you to participate. So join us. Join us. I'm sharing and we share Abu Dhabi. Hi. Wow. I think you're my first guest from Abu Dhabi, Doralis. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Goretti Show. We host this show every 8 o'clock every Wednesdays at 8 o'clock here on this channel, the Goretti Experience page, and my personal page, Goretti Tregbe, and my Facebook page is Goretti Experience. So please subscribe, please like, and yeah, and get the word out. So welcome to the show. Officially, we're starting, and I'm so happy that Roderick is here. Welcome to the show, Roderick.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here too.
It's such a pleasure to have you guys. You know, when you Idle Park talk show, when my cousin, I'm just gonna get the, let the cat out of the bag. So Roderick is you host the show with
Right.
my cousin
Yeah.
Asung. And so when he shared this concept to me, I was really excited because the truth is, when we've talked about this need to hear from our men. We've talked about the absence of a strong male voice in our community for so long, from leadership to brotherhood. It's missing. We've talked about it on this show quite a few times. And so I was truly excited when Asong shared Idle Park with us. And yeah, so I couldn't wait to watch you guys. And I think one of the reasons when I watched the show you did on Father's Day, it was just like,
Yeah.
finally, we're hearing from the men.
And just to let you out on a secret, we didn't really want to go controversial on Father's Day. If you watch the show, maybe in the very first few minutes, you can see a little bit of back and forth, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a celebration on Father's Day, so we wanted to keep it celebratory. Um, it's another conversation to have about the importance of men and fathers in the lives of their families and their children.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like we wanted to keep it celebratory. So there's a little bit of back and forth, but it was mostly happy dandy at the end.
But the thing is that it doesn't always have to be a serious conversation for you to pass the message across.
Right.
Sometimes it's just banter and you learn from it. Do you
Right.
understand? And the two ladies that you had on the show, they represented us
Oh,
well.
like if you part of the show, we're like these are special breeds lady because they don't come that many. We were very clear that they form part of the minority. And for those who don't understand and those who did not watch, this lady, their whole association was to celebrate, is meant to celebrate fatherhood. It's something that you don't see very, very common nowadays. We were very clear. We told them that they are part of the minority, and we
Mm-hmm.
were very happy to have them on the show. I'm not sure, like I said, alluded to this earlier. I don't think they're part of the majority. So I think this conversation is going to be interesting.
I don't, and they are certainly not part of the majority because ladies, um, especially the women folk who are watching, how did you celebrate Father's Day? Let us know in the comments. Did you celebrate your fathers? Did you celebrate your husbands? Did you celebrate your deuxième bureau,
Boyfriends.
troisième bureau? Did you celebrate your boyfriend? How was the celebration for you? And why did you celebrate? Why did you celebrate them? Because it's when we put it like that, when we see it on social media that people are celebrating fathers, there was always this conversation where you see women on Father's Day come to celebrate themselves as well, and I think that's one of the things that I really want us to talk about tonight. But before we even go there, tell me a bit more about Idle Park Talk Show and what you guys are about.
Well, thank you for that question. Idle Park Talk Show, it's a show that is fairly new in the airways. We started maybe 2 months ago, and
Mhm.
mainly our goal was to like bring the voices of men so that people can understand the perspective of men as well. If you like, we were talking to before we went live, there's a lot of female voices out there. Like, I don't feel like women have a lot of trouble finding people that share what they feel and stuff like that. But we thought to ourselves that men don't have these voices, so we wanted to create a space that men can come and share their experiences, share what they feel, and
Mhm.
then hopefully get to an understanding between the sexes, because right now you can feel that it's a big divide between the male and female genders,
Mhm.
mainly because we're not listening to each other, we're not talking to each other. Each one is in their own camp, and it's a little bit of fighting going back and forth. So idle pack concept was to have guys and women together. So it's not only a guy show. If you notice, most of our guests have been women. So it's to just have that respectful dialogue where we can disagree respectfully and still know that people are coming from a good place. So
Wait,
in a nutshell, it was a voice for men to have a conversation with other sexes and with people having other experiences.
Roderick, you just said something that I want to touch on. So you're still having trouble getting the men folk to come on your show like we do in
Uh,
every other show?
Not necessarily. We've had a few men, but for some reason it's easier for women to come on our show. But we are not inviting people because they are women, right? We're just inviting people because of their experiences and what they have to offer.
Mhm.
We've had a few men, but our majority of our guests so far have been women, which is really interesting. But it kind of confirms what we already know, that women are more expressive people. They
Yeah.
like to share. They enjoy social harmony. Um, so we've had a few men. We're hoping to have more men, but
Mhm.
again, the two hosts are men, right? So we're also
Mhm.
coming from that experience of being a man in the conversation. So we have a little bit of fun back and forth with these women on our show, respectfully, of course. It's
Yeah.
not a show where you come to bash people or you come to bash the other gender. We don't tolerate that here.
You don't you don't tolerate that. So we
Yeah,
just we have a frank conversation,
we
and
do.
you give your input from a man's point of view.
Yeah.
It's much needed. How have the men received it in you
Oh,
guys?
the men actually love it.
Mhm.
We've had a few comments from men like, this is very interesting. At least we have an opportunity for people to hear our side of the story and hear
Mhm.
how we feel about certain things, right? So it's been well received by the men and surprisingly too by the women, because you can tell a lot of women are craving for male perspective on certain things, right? Um, like I said earlier, oftentimes it's one-sided. So this our show is for to give that opportunity so we can hear the other side of any particular issue of interest.
Yeah, it gives it such good balance. I really love
Right.
that. It gives it such good balance. Oh God. Okay, so someone just told me that someone just sent me a message like, how could you put this show on a day when there's a football match going on?
I
Ah,
know.
there's always something happening in the
I know
world.
you guys in Europe, you're probably doing with the Euros. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's okay. I mean, there's always something happening in the world. That's the beauty of
Yeah.
of
They can always rewatch
you
them,
can
right?
always rewatch it, and you
And
can
that's
always
fine.
tell us what you think
Yeah.
and that. So your other partner, which I'm going to put his face. Sorry, and I'm sharing, and now I've
Yeah.
gone. Is Asong. So
Yeah.
these are the
Awesome.
two hosts, Asong on and yourself, Roderick.
Yeah.
So how did the two of you come up with that idea that you know what? Let's have this show.
Yeah. So we belong to a forum where we have these casual conversations, yet interesting back and forth. And I thought to myself, like, why can't we make this so that the show is mainly men? Why can't we
Mhm.
make this out? Because we really have interesting conversations and people have diverse opinions, right? Oftentimes
Mhm.
very polarizing. So I'm like, this is really interesting and we can bring it out to the world and, people get our perspective, especially issues that concerns men and women. Because
Mhm.
it's easy to remain in an echo chamber. That's very easy. You just listen to people who agree with you and you have a much peaceful life. But so I thought to myself, why can't we bring out these conversations? Because believe me, when men are together in a group, just men, they have a totally different conversation when
I
women are
beg,
around.
no, short boss line. What are some of the things that you people talk about when you're just men?
We just we just talk about our experiences with women.
Mhm,
Sometimes the good, the bad, and the ugly.
mhm,
Um, Sometimes men are really scared to share these experiences with women because they're scared of how women are going to receive it. And
mhm,
sometimes you can't blame them too, because most of them have shared their experiences with women as they've always been bashed on, like, oh, how can you say that, you don't love us, it's because you're a man that you say that, and stuff like that. So men tend to shy away from having these conversations with women, and then
mhm,
the women are wondering what the men are thinking, and then it's really creating a bigger divide. So coming back to the question, so I reached out to us. I'm like, I'm thinking of doing this, creating a show that we can entertain the perspective of men, have a conversation where we can discuss with other people just to share an experience. So he was really interested. So we went back and forth for like a month or two, trying to put everything together so that we can get the best quality out there. And then finally, we launched our show on Mother's Day, which was really interesting and well received as well. So a
mhm.
man's show starting on the Mother's Day. So that I felt that was a good combination.
Yeah, it was a really good show. And if you guys haven't watched it yet, please go and watch it. It's Idle Park Talk Show. What I'm trying to do right now is share the screen so
Yeah,
that you can see their page. It's Idle Park Talk Show, and they
yeah.
are really doing something. They are really talking from the man's point of view. So we should, you know. So this is where is the page? I shared the wrong page.
Yeah.
I did.
So it's a Idle Park is one
No,
word.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah. I don't worry, I got it. I somewhere. I have it open.
yeah,
I just have way too many things open. Happy Father's
I
Day.
know.
That's what it's called. I have too many things open. Um, so if you guys please go and subscribe. Yeah,
Please
that's
subscribe.
the
Yeah,
page. It's very important. We have to subscribe. So that's their page. That's the show. Happy Father's Day 2021. Idle Park Talk Show.
yeah.
So please go on that, subscribe on that page, and let's hear. Hopefully, with a lot more of you, with you guys being a male talk show, maybe a lot more men now will feel a bit more confident to come and talk to you. Because sometimes, oh gosh, I think I just lost him. Because sometimes, it's easy for the men to say, no, I don't want to talk to Goretti. I don't want to talk to a woman. I want to talk to a guy. So um so welcome to the show, guys. Welcome. Don't worry, we're just getting into the show, and we really need to talk about it. We've just lost Roderick. If you're new to this platform, my name is Goretti. It's the Goretti Show. We host this every Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And what we do here is we'll share and we learn through our shared experiences. That's it. No two things. You share your experiences on whatever it is you've experienced in life, and we learn through your experiences. And when we move on and hoping that through that we are able to build a stronger community for ourselves. So Roderick is back.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. But today we really want to talk about something that I really want to talk about. First of all, the audacity of that question. When I came across that question, are men necessary? The audacity of it shocked me, and I really was like, what the, like, who would think to do something like that? So to ask such a question, can you ever ask if women are necessary? Do you know how it will be received?
And surprisingly, you think that's not common. It's very common, especially with women empowerment nowadays. It's almost gotten to the extent where men are not that important anymore. People feel like men are just disposable. You can kick them out when you want. You can pick them back up when you want, and it's just not fair to men. It's just not fair to women too. And I don't know why people haven't realized this, but it's also affecting women when you don't have strong men.
And this is the angle that I wanted us to talk about it. We have it's becoming a trend where we are celebrating single mothers are celebrating themselves as calling themselves
Oh,
fathers,
terrible.
obviously because they're single mothers. They tend to kind of play both roles, and so we see a lot of that happening nowadays. And before, we used to sit and see this happen, but in like we are in the Western world, but we think it's far removed from us because it's the
Right.
white people doing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm slowly seeing how it is creeping into our communities, and it is becoming celebrated, kind of. For example, I'm going to show you this Mother's Day clip, and I just want your opinion after this. Let's talk about this. What do you think about this clip? I'm going to just stay with me. Let me share this with you.
My mom was a single mother, so she raised both of us completely by herself, which is I'm sorry.
I don't know how she raised 3 boys on her own with such grace.
I've definitely seen her try to juggle both mom, dad, and everything else that she had to be for herself. She did all of it, and she did it all as though she was 2 people.
But she was tough, huh? She was not a joke.
Say our car broke down. Oh, well, that's the alternator.
She was like, when you punch, she's like, you put your knuckle out and you just go for it. I mean, I don't even know if that's a thing.
Even like opposite of her toughness, it was something very fragile,
Anything that needs help, a person, a thing, an animal, she will find it and she will nurse it back to health. That's my mom.
Always very affectionate, very hugging and kissing and all of that. It was always nothing but love.
She really is like the most amazing mother, but she was really an incredible father. Like, truly incredible. Mom, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm thankful for everything you've done for me. Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Mamá, feliz Día del Padre.
Hi, Mom. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Happy Father's Day, Mom.
Oh, Mom. Happy Father's Day.
To be honest, first of all, you're my guest, so let me hear what you think. And when you watch that, what do you think?
It's sad. It's cringe-worthy. It's pathetic. I don't know. I'm trying to look for a better word. Anyways, it's really terrible that single mothers are considered fathers. It does not do justice to fathers. It doesn't do justice to mothers, because the thing is, men and women are different. Fathers and mothers are completely different. You can try to play the father role as much as you want, but you are not a father. You remain a mother. Children experience moms differently, the way they experience that. And to just minimize the role of a woman because she's a single mom is absolutely terrible. It hurts the family. It hurts particularly children. I find it so selfish for women who are single mothers celebrating Father's Day. You are not a father, so sorry.
And I think, oh gosh, I wish a lot of these women who the single mothers who I see on Facebook often celebrating Father's Day, I really would have loved to have them so we have this conversation. Belle says, wow, are men necessary? We'll ask such a question until we realize that we are a team in whatever situation, then we are raising a different species of people. I agree with you, and you will be surprised that it's actually that was actually a paper that was written, and it's actually a book. And it's actually I came across papers that said that there a child does not necessarily need a man or a father or a mother.
That idea is very common out there, and
I don't.
Especially in the West, where we have the liberal mindset, the progressive mindset that is very popular right now. It's very common out there that men are not needed. You can kick men out of the house, kick men out of their children's life, and there seems to be nothing wrong with that. And I find that very terrible.
The thing is, how are they not taking this? Are we not taking progressiveness too far? That like that's the question I have to ask, because we sit here and we watch it, and like I said earlier, this is slowly creeping into our community, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
For example, I came across this, and this is another thing I want to show, and I want to show because maybe we are not even paying attention of how it would I call it the trend of what it's
Part
not
of the work culture.
it's not the so-called woke culture, which is trying to, I feel like they're trying to make men obsolete in the family structure, because one of these really popular magazines that's called Parents, the title of the magazine is Parents. Look at the cover page.
Yeah, there's no man in there.
Your magazine is called Parents, and you have many single people and the odd parents, the odd. I mean, if you go and Google them and check them out, they have. I think they were called out last year, and so they had to try and kind of change that. But you are a parent, and if you go on your website, all they are talking about is how is mothers. It's from the mother's point of view. And then we are wearing, I feel like as Africans, my question is, are we wearing this feminist and liberal hats? Are we taking it a bit too far without understanding the damage that it could be doing to our communities?
I think that's a great question. Yes. Yes is the short answer, but I don't think Africa is as far gone as the West is, but we're certainly catching up. That's for sure. You can see the influence of feminism in Africa. That has been is embraced by a lot of African women and men too, to the detriment of the family and the men. So Africa, you can tell from current feminists in Africa, they are almost getting to the trend that the West has been in a couple of years ago.
So how would this? Does this look like for our community? And if you want to join this, because now I'm gonna open it, because
so what it looks like practically is women thinking that men are not important, so they can kick out the men from the house. They can tell the children that your father is useless, your father does nothing to you. They can tell the children that you cannot learn how to be a father or to be a strong man tomorrow. How does that affect children? It affects girl children differently from male children, but it affects them all the same. For the girl children, they don't have that discipline structure on how to grow up, how to find a man who's respectable enough to marry. Because you have women, a lot of women who are complaining, where are all the good men? Well, you guys keep them out from the house. You guys keep the dads out from the house. So the children, the boys did not learn.
Okay.
For the guys, it affects them differently. You have women raising guys. You have a lot of emotional, feminized men who are emotional about everything, who cannot take a decision,
Well, Roderick, I'm going to say it's not always the case.
I'm not saying everybody. So
yeah.
For those who are watching, don't come at me. I never use the word everybody, but it's certainly a majority of men who are being raised by single mothers. It affects you. You become very feminine. You become emotional. You don't act the way men are supposed to act: strong, assertive, commanding, not in a domineering way. That's not what we're advocating for. Strong doesn't mean you have to be domineering, but you have to be assertive and know where you're going to in life.
Okay, and on this note, I'm going to bring are you muted, Tres? I'm going to bring Tres 14, because I know you're someone who always fights for the man. How do I put myself in the middle of this picture? Welcome to the show, Tres.
Hi, welcome, Tres.
Thanks for having me. And Ideal Pack, you just said a few things that I actually already want to follow your page. So I'm looking for it right now, that I want to sign up like right now and start following you, because you're just speaking my kind of language. But Goretti, thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure to be part of your panel. You're doing an amazing job, so I'm happy to be here again after a while.
Let's just dive right into it, please. So you've been listening to what we've been saying, and did you watch? Were you able to watch the advert that I showed earlier of these women of men and women celebrating Father's Day, saying Happy Father's Day, Mom? You know, personally, I see it like it's a trend. It's a trend that's slowly creeping up and creeping into our communities, and I don't know if we are aware of the damage of that. Well, I shouldn't say that in conclusion. Could this cause some damage within our African communities, especially given our cultures?
Yeah, this is another liberal agenda that's been thrown out there to just destroy men at every cost, right? The goal here is just to feminize, like the other host was saying, feminize the man and make the man weak. A woman is never going to be a father. She can play the role of a mother to the 10th 100 degree. She's playing the role of a mother. If you don't have a father, if you went to a sperm bank and you got a sperm, it's still a male sperm. That's the only way you get a sperm to produce a father, to produce a child. And you still that sperm still, there's documentation of where it came from. So there's a father to that child. The child does not fall from the tree. So that the father is not in the child's life is one thing, but there's a father. The celebration of Father's Day is not the celebration of good fathers, the best fathers that can be. They're not celebrating fathers like me who are present, who are doing everything that needs to be done. That's not what Father's Day is for. We are acknowledging that they're fathers too, just as they're mothers, right? And how do we make fathers be more productive? By recognizing them, right? We don't only celebrate the best fathers. We celebrate the ones who are falling short because we're about to pull them by their bootstraps, right? How do you join this conversation? How do you part of the process? Recognize that they exist. You're in the back, you're behind the scene. We're not talking about you. How about you come and assume your responsibility and be a father? If we don't talk about these fathers, then we're further alienating them. They're not helping, right?
Belle has a question, and she's saying to start with, we should define who a father and a dad is. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning again. Yeah.
A father is the person who helped in the production of the baby, right? Okay. Who you slept with and made the baby, right? That's the father. Who you went, the sperm bank that you went to the sperm bank, you filled out yours. I want a blue eye man. I want the sperms from this guy. You made your specification what you wanted from the sperm bank, how intelligent, and they found that sperm and gave it to you. So that's the father, right? A dad is the role that a father plays, right? A dad now is the role. A dad is the provider, is the protector, the one who's there to guide you. If it's a boy, to tell you how to, shake your wing and stuff, take you on your first date. If you're a girl, that is the dad. A father can be a father and a dad, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you separate from your father, everybody that comes up in a life, again, maybe by stepdad or uncles or grandfathers, they play the role of a dad, right? Mm-hmm. But you know who your father is, or you don't know who your father is, but you may know who your dad is, right? So the dad is the role. Father is the biological person that helped to build you, right? So we're not celebrating the role. And that's the mistake they make between Father's Day and Mother's Day.
Are you saying on Father's Day we are not celebrating the role?
No, we're not. We're not. They've not defined what it is that we're celebrating. And I'm not going to put words, and I'm not going to shape it so it fits a liberal context, right? Mm-hmm. They're celebrating fathers. Just like on Mother's Day, they celebrate mothers. We don't care whether these are good mothers, bad mothers, mothers that have left their kids, mothers that are all over the place. There's no distinction. We are not saying here that every mother is the best mother on earth. That's a lie, right? Mm-hmm. But we know in the majority, mothers are amazing. They're good. But to think that every mother is good is just total fabrication, right?
Okay, Belle definitely disagrees with you. But before you, sorry to cut you short, I want to piggyback on that. Rodrigue, what do you think about what Trez is saying?
I agree with most of what he said. A father is someone who gave birth to you, who impregnated your mother, who gave birth to you. So if you
Okay.
want to look at it, that's just one dimension. And Tres alluded to this already. That relationship that you have with your children, you can call it that. You can call it another dimension of father. I think that is another dimension of fatherhood. So there's the biological part of it, that is the DNA you got from a man, that's half of you, and then there's the relationship aspect that you have with a man in your life. I think Tres tried to make that distinction there. But recognition is one thing. Celebration is another thing. I think for Father's Day, it's fair to celebrate all the male figures in your life. I know that there's a lot of deadbeat dads out there. We're not gonna sugarcoat that. I don't know
Yeah.
if those people, you can be recognized without being celebrated. So I think Father's Day is, for the celebration of that fatherly role that
So
only
for
a
the
male
dad
can.
role, for the dad.
Yeah, that role and that biological. Oftentimes the two coincide together. But if woman cannot be that, you cannot have contributed the DNA to,
Mhm.
you
So
get what I'm saying,
I
right?
get it.
So speaking back to Treasure's point, no, a woman cannot be that. It's
But
the biological part and it's a relational part as well.
okay, and okay, Vera, this is a good point. So Vera is asking you guys on that basis, are you guys saying that so a 14-year-old who fathers a child out of sexual curiosity should also be celebrated on Father's Day?
I think I just kind of answered that question already. So you can
Are you
recognize
serious?
that 14-year-old as your father, but not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. I don't know now. I think we're trying to stereotype that 14-year-old cannot
Because
provide.
he's a
I don't think
child.
they can provide. But anyways, you can recognize the 14-year-old as a father, but you cannot celebrate them because they are not stepping up to what a father is supposed to do.
Stress.
And that's the blur line between the role and the father, right? And that's why I say I don't look at it essentially like we're he said that we're you could be recognized but not celebrated, right? Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
A 14-year-old that has a child is a 14-year-old that has a child. He's a father, that's his child, right? Because the 14-year-old, let's assume he had a child with a 14-year-old girl. She is equally the mother. They're not gonna stop calling her mother because she's 14, right? She's a teenage mom, but
Yeah.
she's a mom, right? So it's the same thing. If you're gonna call her a mom, you would have to call him a father. So the thing
No,
is this.
I don't have an issue with calling them mom or dad. The question I have is, should they be celebrated? I don't think so.
If the 14-year-old can step up and work at
That's
McDonald's
why I said I was going to
and provide.
stereotype, because I think 99% of 14-year-olds can really step up mentally, financially, and maturely. I don't think they're capable of being fathers.
My
In
question
the
is this,
relational
right?
aspects.
My question is this. That was a good question, but let's consider this scenario. A 40-year-old man, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he has been trying to have a kid because he's able to, and he cannot. And the day he has he's at the hospital and his wife or girlfriend puts to birth, right? That day where he holds that baby, right? He cuts the umbilical cord. Um, does anybody know the feeling? Is there any woman that knows the feeling of that man on that day that he's looking at that baby and holding that baby? He has not provided for that baby. He has not done anything. That's day one of that baby's life, right? He is still at the hospital. Diapers are still provided by the hospital. Milk is still provided by the hospital. But he is looking at this baby and he's holding it to his heart and said, "This is mine." Can any woman relate to that?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
What's the point?
I don't think women
What's
can
your
relate
point?
to father.
My point is this. That is why we say women cannot be fathers. Women can pay bills. Women can buy food and make protection for their kids. Women do that all the time, from the time we were born to this day. My mom still protects me. Women do that. So even with the presence of an active father, women still provide and still take care. It doesn't stop. It never stops because there's a man involved. So the act of providing and all of this stuff is not the essential reason why we celebrate, because women do that nonstop, whether there's a man or there's no man, right? It's just instinctive for the women. So we are celebrating the father.
All fathers.
So we're just not
I
celebrating
guess
the
we can.
father by virtue of the fact that he's a sperm donor. That's it.
I would personally go with it. Suits my narrative. I would go with that because I want every father to be celebrated.
Sorry. I get where Tres is coming from, because there can be a blurry line. Like, where do you draw the line? But I'm just gonna stick to the fact that recognition is not celebration.
Yeah, so exactly. Roderick's point is that we celebrate Father's Day for the father who is present, for the present father, not the sperm donor.
And those who are trying to be present
and those
are not getting that.
Yeah, but to Roderick's point, right? Those who are trying to be present, if we don't even as much as recognize them, right? They're not going to be present. I want everybody to be on the table. I want deadbeats to come up from being deadbeats and be productive fathers. So for that to happen, we need to say positive things. We need to have positive reinforcements, right? We need to first acknowledge that they are fathers, right? So we acknowledge that you are a father and you have a responsibility to play. Father is not just a title you wear and take pictures and then go and put it back up, right? It's a responsibility that you embolden. So I start by saying, we should start by recognizing that, yes, I see you, I hear you, come sit on the table and do what you need to do. But if we relegate them now in the background, we didn't help. And we push these liberal women to be fathers, we're not helping.
I feel like maybe it's just semantics. Because when I think of celebration, I'm thinking like a happy, dancey, party kind of thing, right? Like, oh, you're doing these things and we have to celebrate you. That's why I try to make the distinction between recognition and celebration. We can say, oh, fathers are very important. This child, he's not, this father, he's not available in this child's life, but he's very important. He plays a role that nobody else can play. We can recognize that. But can we say, oh, happy, like this father, because he was a sperm donor, we're just going to celebrate? No, because in my mind, celebration is like, it's a party, like what happened on Father's Day, people going out like, oh, because you are doing this, you get this stuff. Okay.
So with you, it's the physical. We are celebrating the fact again. We're celebrating the father's presence for you.
It's a celebration, right? But that doesn't mean you cannot recognize that this person is a father and can step up to the plate. We can, of course, say, this person maybe had a kid at 14-year-old. It's not mature enough, but he can step up to the plate and be the father he's supposed to be. So we can recognize that he plays an important role, but not celebrate.
Are you guys reading the comments, Tres? Are you reading?
I'm reading all the people disagreeing and stuff.
Yeah,
so
because I know.
I'm
sure. Tres, I think we're in the minority when we talk about.
I love being in the minority. I hate to follow bands and just follow sweet words.
Tres and Roderick, I'm so glad that we have two men with differing opinions on the show, so that the women.
I don't know if I really disagree with Trent for me.
You kind of. So it's good.
I don't think that would be a big dividing line.
My thing is, the thing is, we have not even come into an agreement yet, because in the comments, it's everybody. I think most people disagree with you, Threes. Most people think that a father is he who is actively present in a child's life.
Can you make a slight correction? Most women say that.
Most women. All right.
Yeah. Let's not do most people, because that would include men. So let's do most women.
Trent,
I could further break down those women into categories, but let's not antagonize them. Let's just leave it at most women.
Tres, we are here to have an open conversation and not call names or any of that.
No, it's good to put things in context, right?
Okay, so Brenda is asking, I beg to differ. When you were talking, she said she disagreed with you on so many counts. I beg to differ. Laying claims to that on the foundation of feminism is quite thwarted and misconstrued. we go back to what is feminism in the first place. Brenda, do you want to come and explain feminism? Because maybe a lot of us don't even understand what.
See, the goalpost for this thing keeps moving, man. Like, like where are we?
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
You cannot satisfy. Like now we've moved it to feminism. Okay.
I know. If we want to stick to the conversation, I think feminism is another conversation for another day, and I'll be happy to talk about that one.
Brenda says, honestly, 13-14, that still doesn't cut it. Our celebration comes from a place of presence, impact, relevance, not by virtue of the fact that you're.
That's what Roderick is saying. She can agree with Roderick. That's okay.
So to you guys, and especially as men, something is clicking. With you men, observing this, do you take the time to observe the impact of these? I'm not going to use that word. I was going to say effeminization, but I think I shouldn't say that. But
that's the right word.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
No, not exactly.
Don't be a liberal. Say what it is. Let's carry on.
Do you guys think that this what are the effects that you think this attitude of this us adopting this new wave of what's that clicking sound? Can you guys hear it? It's really loud.
I don't know where it's coming from.
It's interrupting my.
It's probably your mic or something.
Okay, it's better. I've muted you. So when you want to talk, unmute yourself. But do you guys feel what effect is it having on our community? Do you guys notice it in our community like I do? Because I'm beginning to notice it quite a lot, especially on Father's Days. I mean, what effect, if any, do you think it's having on our community? And is it good? Is it bad? And what I think 10, 5, 20, 50 years from now, how much could it affect our African culture, especially for those of us who are living out here in the diaspora? Unmute yourself, if you can.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Well, I think that's an interesting question. Anybody who is not noticing that is willfully blind, in my opinion. You can see the absence of fathers in the way girls behave, in the way boys behave, in even the way women behave. I'll start with boys. I already said this earlier. You have a lot of effeminized women, a lot of effeminized men. Sorry, men who are not assertive, men who don't step up to the role of a provider and a protector, men who are basically not wearing the pants in their relationship. And when I'm talking about wearing the pants in their relationship, I'm not talking about dominating over women and treating women like subhumans and stuff like that. But you find men who do not have a clear vision for their families, men who are okay with women going home and providing for themselves, for their families, and they just stay home. These women are not happy. These men are not happy about their lives. The children are most importantly suffering from that. For women, you see a lot of women who are wayward. They have no discipline in their life because they didn't have boundaries set by their fathers.
Wait. Okay, sorry. Go on. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Correct it. Let the man finish. He was talking about men, and you did not go off. As soon as he said women, all you're about to.
It's just like, okay, go on.
Just a caveat. I'm not talking about all women.
Of course.
I'm not talking about all children, all men and women who do not have fathers in their life. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but we're talking about generally. So, in general, like women are not very good at boundary setting, especially when the children are growing old. You need a man to step up to the plate to be able to set that boundary. Women have other important things that they do to the children like that have to be celebrated. And fortunately, fathers are willing to celebrate mothers. But sometimes the road doesn't go the other way. So I talked about men, I talked about children, boys and girls. Now about women. Women now have to step up to the role to play both the role of the mother and the father. And these women are overwhelmed. These women are stressed out.
Wait, so you actually agree that a woman can play the role of a father?
Well, if you're looking at the role in terms of provision and protecting, some women can play that to a certain extent, but you can't play the way a man would. And you certainly can't play it as the primary role that is supposed to be done by a man.
Okay. Tress, I want to hear you because I know you always say no on that point.
Um, so I'm in the U.S. and in the African American community, we saw the dissemination
The
of
family.
the African family, the black family, when the majority of men were being locked up, incarcerated, and women were left to raise kids all by themselves, right? And any African American scholar will tell you that the absence of a man in a family has damaged us, and we need the two-parent household. We need to push that narrative of a man and a woman raising a kid. So we have seen it in the black African American community. It's not even something that is recorded, and they tell you themselves. Coming now, so
it's actually academic, literature
documented, right? So this is not us making up stuff.
Right.
No.
So now coming back, now this is something new. We have seen people be affected, but now we Africans want to go. We are going into it. Nobody incarcerated us. Nobody has locked Africans up. Nobody is punishing us. We are deciding to bring this burden on ourselves, right? We have stood from a distance and we have seen African Americans suffer from it. Like you said, it's documented. But African are saying that we are empowering women to be single, right? We are not empowering women to form a union and say, if you're going to bring kids, you want to do so in a family setting where there's a man and there's a woman, right? We are pushing the narrative that a woman can be a man, can be a mother, and can be a father.
Yeah.
So she is able to do this all by herself. So then there's a problem because we are either ignoring what has happened with the African Americans and saying that we're going to have a different outcome to doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Willfully. Not no person forced this on us. Willfully.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we keep doing is trying to tell women that no, what you are doing is a woman. You are providing, you're your mother. You're just gone to the 100th percentile at your provision and protection. But what the man brings to the table, what the father brings to the table, you will never understand and be able to do it. And because it has been documented that because of the absence of that man in the African American community, it's not because African American women are not hardworking and not productive and are not protective. These are some of the most hardest working women you would ever meet in your life, and they have gone through some trauma, right? And they still try to make ends meet. But they say we miss our fathers, we miss our men. So Africans have it wrong, and Africans are playing with fire when they welcome this thing, and when any community comes and tells you that yes, women can be fathers, and you embrace it, you have to find that agenda out. Why are they encouraging you to support this narrative?
And before I go to the comments, and I think for those who are joining a bit late, this is a magazine that calls itself Parents. It calls itself Parents, but if you look at the magazine covers, I guess it's a Western magazine, right? So it's trying to reflect what is of their I guess their culture. I can use that word right now, isn't it? Because this is their current cultural state where there are all kinds of different families, same-sex families, single parent home families, and all of that is being encouraged. But if we look at that, and I think I'm taking this from Trey's point, we look at this, and I think maybe I should just ask everybody, when you see that a family is being represented as that diverse, very diverse, ethnically, sexually, in every way diverse, what do you think? What does it mean to you? Is this what you is this, I don't know, what emotions, if any, does it evoke in you?
For me, nothing. It's a Western culture. It culturally doesn't represent me. I see Black people in there, so it represents me racially, but culturally doesn't represent me, right? And we cannot copy everything because the West does that. They don't copy from us. We don't have to copy from them.
But guess what, guys? We are living in these communities, right? We're going to have children who are born here who probably never going to go back home to Africa. And this culture that we're struggling, that a lot of us don't even understand, don't even really truly believe in, because I've seen that in a lot of times now we pick and choose what we want to take from our cultures, right? Especially for those of us who are out of the country. But our children are being born here, and we're not really imparting such a strong cultural heritage upon them. So how is this a white man thing when we are in the white man world?
Only Africans in America, again, I only know America. I don't know about Canada or the UK, but only Africans in America don't embrace their culture, right? In this country, Indians still have arranged marriages. That has nothing to do with sexual orientation or what we accept in this country as okay. It still says that Indians do what Indians do here. Mexicans do what Mexicans do here. Jewish people do what Jewish people do in America. The only people that come here and sacrifice most of their culture as Africans. We feel that when we wear Rapa material and we wear Togo, that is our culture, right? And we eat achu and all of that stuff. That is what we put out there as our culture. But we have our culture that we can pick and choose from the white man and add to our culture. Now, your show, when we were talking before this show, you said your show starts at 8 p.m. Cameroon time, which means that you have audiences from the motherland, from Cameroon that watch this show. Yeah. Right? So those in Cameroon cannot then have the same excuse that I have in America, right? They have to have their own value system. They cannot look at America and say, I want to copy what I saw on Parents Magazine. You understand? They have to have their own standards that works for them. If anything, I should look at their standards and then replicate. What happens is that I don't see a standard over there, so my kids cannot fall back, because if my kids are asking me questions about the culture, there's nothing, because they've already replicated the Western culture upon themselves. And that's what I said, that it is self-inflicting. We bring this upon ourselves. Nobody is imposing this. The women who are saying that I raised the child, I raised this, I'm a father. Some of them are in Cameroon. Some of them are in Nigeria. How does that? Have they done any study to understand the impact of that? No, they've not. But they're copying it because they saw another girl in London. They saw another girl in America say these things, right? And it sounded good. It sounded controversial. Then they copy, right? So we need to protect. We need to make sure that we're not just looking at Parent Magazine and then copy and then replicate in Africa. Else we're going to disappear. Else we're not going to have any story to tell.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for that, Trace. But just for those who are watching, if you're enjoying this, can I see the likes? Can I see like the show, love it? I don't know. Let me know you're enjoying it as much as I am. So there's a like button there. You can like, you can choose a heart, you can let us know you're enjoying the show. But Tres, there are a few comments for you. Are you reading the comments so you can respond to what Lambert is asking you? Lambert is asking you, Lambert says, what is Western Tres? I think it's I've missed that. What is Western Tres? That's a stereotype. Are you being reversely racist?
I swear to God, let me take a moment to answer that, reflect on that. Oh my God.
Okay, you know.
This is that. I'm sorry. Lambert is like my elder brother, but this is what Roger was saying about the politically correct, the feminization of men. Now you cannot say Western because it's reverse racism. No, I can say Western. They call it Western culture. So I will call it what they call it, right? It is Western culture. We are in the West. They don't call Asia West. They don't call Japan Western. They have their own cultures. They don't copy. They don't know in Japan or China goes read Parent Magazine and try to replicate that. They do what they do, right? So this is a Western. They say Western civilization, Western culture. This is Western. America, Europe, all of this Caucasian stuff. That's that liberal. You have to be nuanced. You have to watch your words so that you're not reversed.
Politically correct. That's it.
Politically correct. I don't do that no more. I'm past with that. I say it as it is. Whoever is offended is offended.
And before I bring you Roderick, Adora, welcome to the show, by the way. Adora is saying, Trace, it's not about culture, it's about taking responsibilities. Why do you break the laws in Africa and behave in Western countries?
It's a cultural thing. You cannot alienate it, right? These people have defined what works for them. You understand? We have to, like we started this conversation. We said maybe Adora and what was his name again? Who just
Lambert.
Maybe they didn't hear the part where I said, and you confirm studies have shown the impact of the absence of fathers in the African American family.
Mm-hmm.
They will tell you that when African American men were being locked up for drugs and everything, they are seeing the impact today. And Roderick did break that we see the result. Women acting out of sorts, like out of order, not women like. And we have to tell people the truth, right? And that's not telling women that there's something less than we have to keep pacifying. We explain, we pacify, right? Blow and kiss, yeah? That's what we have to be doing now. Guys are out of order. Boys are sagging their pants. They're running the streets, doing whatever. That is the absence. African Americans would tell you that that's the absence of the fatherly role, right? You don't. And so if they know this to be true, what is it that Africans want to tell me that they want to jump into this head on, knowing fully and expect a different outcome? Is that what they're trying to convince me now, that we are going to go and tell ourselves that, yes, I can be a mother and a father and do all of this, and then my child is going to be something other than what African Americans could not be? Right? That's what Africans are trying to convince me?
Okay. I hear
and
that.
They would have to show me the data, because we have seen the data here that this is the data. Now Africans have to do it and then show me the data that they've done it, and this is how successful the kids turn out to be. But that data does not back what Africans are about to do.
Okay, I'll take it now to Roderick. Thanks for that, Trace. I'll take it to Roderick. And I'm going to make it a bit personal. You're a father yourself, right? And you were raised in a two-parent home, right? How do you think that, because, and I'm bringing it to the cultural aspect that Trace is talking about, how is your parenting out there in Canada different from how you were raised, especially as a father? Now, how was your father? How was the way your father raised you, your father's influence, impact in your life? How is it different culturally and in any other way that you want to add from the way that you are raising your children? And how many children do you have?
I have two.
Two boys and girls. Boys, what sex is?
The first is a girl. The second is a boy.
Perfect. So tell me, because it's
yeah, that's a great question. Certainly, parenting has changed over the years. How we were raised is not the same how we are raised now. For how I was raised, we had parents that were very stern, and that was good in many aspects. But I think one disadvantage was the lack of closeness between children and their parents when we were growing up. When we were growing up, it was not so popular for children to have that personal connection with their parents, right?
Did you have one? Did you have it with your parents?
I did, but not different from like the rest of my peers. It was what was the norm at the time, right? It's what our parents had to deal with at the time. I don't know if they would have done anything different. The dad was just a disciplinarian. When the dad came in, the children would go into the room. Or when the dad came in, you have to change all your channel to the news channel so the dad can watch. The dad had his plate, the dad had his chair, and stuff like that. So we, growing up, I think most of my peers, I think that was common at my age, they didn't have the personal relationship that children nowadays have. I think nowadays parents are closer to their children. Dads are especially closer and more involved in the children's life, which I find it to be very advantageous right now. So children can express themselves, they can be fully children, they can trust their dads. But that is something that we didn't grow up, and it was really common amongst our parents. It was just how they related back.
But
Back
then,
in the days.
but then I could argue and say that that way of behaving had its own advantages in the sense of that there
Oh, I
was a
just said that. Yeah,
respect.
they will say.
The father was literally
Oh yeah.
God,
Yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
know.
That's certain that it had its own advantages and disadvantages. Not to say that nowadays the way we're parenting doesn't have its own disadvantages.
Yeah.
It has huge disadvantages the way we are parenting now. I mean, you have a lot of children who are being raised by the iPads or by talk shows and stuff like that, because the parents are not there. The parents are busy. They're either addicted to social media and all that kind of stuff. So
No,
progress
I'm
is
not
not
even
always.
talking about. I'm just talking about relationship wise and
Oh
cultural wise.
yeah,
Things like
relationship wise,
respect.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you're raising, if you're letting the iPad raise the child, I mean, you have a fast that you're having a connection with your child, but you're not really. It's the iPad that's really raising your child. So you can have that openness to talk to your children, but do you have that really close connection with children? I don't know, but for sure. If you ask me, I think there's been a lot of progress in terms of parental involvement, especially that involvement in children's life nowadays.
Okay. And for you, Tess? And for you, Tess, I don't know if you want to ask the same question.
No, like it's like what Roderick said. Our parents were my dad was present, but it was the same thing. Uh, Everything we did, we went to mom. Right, mom was the beginning and the end. Mom, I want school fees. Mommy, I not eating. Mommy, I cannot sleep. Mommy, I can't go. Mommy, my head. And my dad was the one in the medical field, but we still went to my mom to ask her about, medical stuff when we didn't feel fine, right? So dad was always there, and dad was this big kahuna that you don't mess with. My dad had a diesel car. If you hear that car coming 5 miles down the road, you better get your act right, because there's no room for. We essentially feared our dads.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
that
that's
makes
what it is. Yeah,
now.
we feared our fathers.
But you fearing your father, especially because you're saying we're talking so much about the effeminization of our boys and out here in the West. That fear of your father, did he what? How did he impact?
It made you man up. You had to man up. You have to. You just have to get your kahunas by and man up and do what's right. Because when he's around, you do what's right. See, and that's what we're missing. That's what this new modernity thing has taken out of it, right? And that's what Roderick has been trying to explain, that we have beta males now that just sit there and just cry, wear your emotions on your shoulder, cry, talk about your feelings. Feelings what?
What's
Yeah.
wrong with talking about your feelings?
There's a space and avenue. There was time we had a conversation about this when the suicide rate was going on. I remember that conversation, right? And we said there's a space and avenue for men to express themselves. Men don't express themselves like women. We do not express ourselves like women. It does not mean that we don't hurt, we don't cry, but there's a place and avenue to do that. And you do that in that place and that time. That's what being a man is. You have to be a leader. Look, I had this conversation with a friend the other day, right? And she was talking about a back and forth with her husband and her. And her husband says, you think emotionally, and I'm not going to think emotional. I'm going to think logically, because this decision that you're about to make right now is wrong.
But
right?
yeah,
If all of them are doing emotional thinking, none of them is going to make the right decision. Somebody has to be the brain. Somebody has to be able to have the logic. Everything is not based on emotion and feelings and crying and no. Somebody has to be like, okay, I have to step up, and where are we going? Where is this car heading to? Let's drive to that direction, because we're all lost right now. And that's what that African heart, even in this country, they would tell you about grandma. They will tell you about how grandma was stern, how grandma would whoop you, right? That's what makes the kids that were born in the 90s and the 80s, the 80s and the 90s different. These our kids now. They don't even knock the door to enter your room. I ask my friends, do your kids knock the door to enter your bedroom? Ask all of these Western American diaspora people, ask them, do your kids knock the door to come in the room at any time? No. Is that parenting? And that's some modern stuff that we do. Your kids can talk to you anyway, do whatever they want to do, and there's nobody to be able to put a stamp on that.
But what Brigitte says, we are not in the 80s.
What does that mean? The question, what does that mean? Were we supposed to be in the 80s?
Brigitte, what do you mean by that?
Exactly.
Nora says, we are suffering how to bond with our father today because he was never close to us. So no matter how we try, we are always at conflicts. He never knew also behavioral. He doesn't know our temperament, and it's a big problem.
That's true. We did. That's Brown. That's what myself and Roderick just said. We grew up with parents that were present, but we're not that loving. My dad would drop me off at school, at a boarding school, and stand at a distance and say, "Go on."
Mm-hmm.
And it did not bring me closer to my dad. I have to reckon, right? It did not make me have that strong relationship, but I have a relationship with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would have wanted it to be any more than it is. But me and my kids, we don't have the kind of relationship that I had with my dad. I'm not going to yell at them at everything. I would yell when it's necessary, but I don't make my kids friends. My kids cannot be my friends. That's another conception that I'm still trying to understand. I have friends. There are things I could talk to my friends about. I can't have this conversation with my kids. My kids are my kids. I have to be the adult. I cannot make friends with 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. What is this?
Tess is asking you, am I hearing that because women get emotional, they don't make firm and logical decisions? Is that what you said?
I didn't say that. It's not that a woman does not make logical decisions when she's emotional, Tess. But she can make logical decisions when she's not emotional.
Mm. And also, I was listening to this lady at Oxford University talk about this, and she said that the research has shown that because the children are not emotionally attached to the parents, to the father, so fathers can be very versatile and very quick in how they make their decisions from a non-emotional way, and it's just how nature has structured it, so that there is a balance, so that women can be emotional. So I don't think we should. I think listening to that, I don't take it personal anymore, because it's just how nature has designed it, that there must be somebody who is more emotional and concerned about the child's well-being, and while the man is logical and concerned about the child's protection.
Let me add this. In homes where the man is emotional, you would see that the mother is the stern one, the one who makes the logical decisions, right? You look at it in every house where the kids gravitate towards the father, is because the mom whoops ass, no joke, right? She's like a disciplinarian, like she don't play, right? So it's like you said, it's natural. It's always, but look at the homes where they're all emotional. Father is emotional, mother is, those children can climb on the wall like Spider-Man.
Rochi, what do you have to say to this while I go to the comments?
Oh, I totally agree with Tres there. You know, it's terrible what we're seeing nowadays with how emotional men are becoming, and
it's
being
terrible.
emotional as a man is an insult for a man. If they call you an emotional man, it's an insult. But I don't know if it's if a woman is emotional, it's just part of a woman's nature. I mean, you're controlled by all the hormones and all that kind of stuff. So women tend to use their emotions in making certain decisions. There's no sugarcoating that. And that's just the nature of women. Men provide the balance of, being logical, and women provide an emotional balance too for men in logical decisions.
From a biological and physiological
so it's a yin and yang thing. It's not an insult. It's not an insult to say that women are emotional decision makers. That's a fact. You cannot run away from it. I think Tres was talking about this, like how much has our culture changed and how much are we supposed to go with that change? I don't know if it's just the African culture that is changing. The world is a global village, in my opinion. Everybody is being, people are taking pieces of different cultures and inculcating ideas, and everybody's evolving. I can guarantee you, even Indians are embracing a lot of what we call the Western cultures. There's a lot of people in the West that are embracing some of the African culture. Some people have been, if you're in the US and you go to Utah, there are people who are in polygamous relationship. That's something that was very popular in Africa back in the day. So I think people are picking what they're convenient, they're comfortable with in different cultures, and implementing it in their lives. But to what extent do you want to do that? Do you want to do that to the detriment of your family, to the detriment of the role of the man in the house, of the role of the woman in the house, or the role of the children? Like Tres was saying, some children have become so disrespectful because of, the cultural change. Is it part of social media, or is it human development and all that kind of stuff? Yes, there has been progress, but not all progress is good. There's a lot of disadvantage to the progress that we're experiencing today.
Okay, and so I'll bring it now to the main one of the questions of tonight. So, given all what we've said about the role of a man and all of that, should women be celebrating Father's Day, and should single mothers celebrate Father's Day, and should single fathers celebrate Mother's Day?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, and why? Go on.
Well, because a single mother can never be a father, or a single father can never be a mother. Mothering is different from fathering. Children expect different things from their mothers. Children expect different things from their fathers. And you can tell when you grow old, there are certain things that you think were mean coming from your dad. But when you grow old, you begin to appreciate those things. Learning to be self-disciplined, learning to be assertive, learning to, demand respect from a man if you're a woman trying to look for a good man to marry. Because I know people oftentimes trying to pit this discussion as if it's man versus women. The truth is that most women want strong men. Women don't want men who are feminized. Women don't want emotional men, because women are already emotional themselves. They're looking for a man who is strong in their masculinity, who is able to lead the household, who is able to provide and protect, who's able to be that male figure, that man.
Yeah, but we also want a man who is in tune with our emotions, understand.
You can be in tune with your emotions without being emotional,
and express himself.
You can express yourself without being emotional. Those are two different things, in my opinion. You can say, I am feeling sad today because I had a rough day at work, blah, blah, blah. But when you start crying and all the tears are rolling, and all that, that's being emotional. A woman, and which is sad, because think of what the society is pushing to us today. They're telling women, women, you can be strong. You're supposed to be the boss lady. You're supposed to be the strong woman. You're supposed to have these multiple jobs. You're supposed to do that. And at the same time, what are they telling women? What are they telling men? Be emotional, be in tune with your emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express emotions. So the society is telling women to be strong, and at the same time telling men to be weak, which I find it very pathetic.
Okay, and then Tres, answer that question. Tres, you answer that question. Thank you.
I'll answer the question. I saw a comment here. Afua Zenga Aben. Many sexist statement. It's interesting to listen to the opinions, and that's where we are today, right? We cannot have a conversation no more without people adjectifying you, sexist, homophobic, this, that. The way they destroy the narrative is, first of all, branding you that you're sexist, you're misogynist, you're this, you're myopic. They have to adjectify you and put you in a container to limit your ability to express yourself, so they then dominate the conversation. So we're having a conversation, and it's of course going to ruffle a few feathers. So that's to be expected. There's nothing sexist about this. Nobody's undermining a woman. If a woman has to be strong, we have to be able to tell them some kind of truth. So we cannot keep pandering and always limiting people and saying sexism and this and that. To answer that question, of course, that's a universal no. It's never going to happen. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen in 100 million years. A woman cannot be a father, period. I'm just going to repeat exactly what my brother Roderick just said, and that would be boring. I think that Roderick already echoed all the points that I would probably say, and he actually added to it. And I'll make a note of that because I have to go create a post. Society is telling women to be strong, to pull up their bootstraps, to live up their best dreams, to leave the house, to be role models and everything, and go get the job, make this kind of money. That's what society. That's the new narrative. But they're not telling men to do the same thing. They're telling us to cry. They're telling us to be emotional, to be in our feelings, to wear skirts and makeup and earrings, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you asked, can a man be emotional? Men are emotional. Men tell their wives, "I love you, I do," all of that stuff. I know men who massage their women and all of that good stuff. That's a way a man is emotional. A man is not going to be emotional the way a woman wants a man to be emotional. And I think that's where the problem is. Women have a definition of what emotional should be, and they want a man to fit that narrative. We already have beta males that are that emotional. We should not grow that population. We should reduce that population. We need strong men. Women, I'm telling you, I listen to all kinds of women. I've listened to hardcore feminists. I've listened to all kinds of women. Women want strong men. They don't want weak men. That's the honest, unadulterated truth. Women want men who are strong in their decision, who don't waver. A woman cannot stand a man who cannot say, who is not sure if it's a yes or if it's a no. I don't know a lot of women that can stand that kind of man. I'm saying that's not related to you. But when a woman sees a man, she needs conviction. She wants that man to be able to say, if I'm going to ride with you, you better be a good driver. You better be able to show me the direction where we're going to.
So
right?
you're saying all of that. So you're saying all of that to say,
like I said, Roderick already said everything. If I had to go over it again, I would just be repeating myself. I just shifted the narrative a little bit. But yes, a woman will never, not even if she is trans, be a father. To be a father, you have to be a man. You have to have the X and Y chromosomes. That's the only way you become a father. It's not a feeling. It's not what you like. It's not what you have done. It's just what it is.
okay. I don't see anyone really arguing. Oh, okay, no. Tessie says, Therese, your opinion doesn't alter the definition of sexism. It's clear that you're just voicing your opinion, but that doesn't change the fact that the opinions are sexist by the definition of sexism, my dear.
Just to come to Therese's defense, it's really amazing that you cannot have a conversation without people being labeling, giving you names, right? That's how people, they discredit you before they listen to your argument. So you get all this sexism and homophobia and racist and whatever. I don't buy that stuff. It doesn't encourage any conversations. You cannot have a respectful dialogue with people.
The goal is
just to say what Chess was saying. I don't know. I've been out of the dating game for a while now. So for those who are single, for the guys who are single, you often hear women telling them, "Oh, we need you to cry. We need you to whatever." Usually, they're talking about another guy. They're not talking about a guy that they want to be with. You know, women like Tress and I have said earlier, they don't want emotional men. They don't want men who are undecisive, men who are not assertive. It doesn't portray women are women. They want men to remain in their masculinity.
Okay.
To answer Tessa's question, right? And
yeah.
The definition was created for that exact purpose. Listen, if we have a conversation where we could actually say things to women as they need to be said without labeling, this whole movement and generation is not going to move, right? We're not going to move far. So for that conversation to move uninterrupted, we have to then discredit people and we have to adjectify people, right? So once we do that, then they sit quiet, right? We cancel them. It's the cancel culture. We cancel them. Then they cannot talk, so that then we can move our agenda peacefully without interruption. If you want to have a debate, so every time, ask anybody, if you're having a conversation, if you go on a feminist on a platform and you need to have a debate about feminism and its positivity and negativity, watch the man. Watch how the man has to always pause. Make sure that he processes the words that are coming out of my mouth. Are they going to be interpreted in a certain way? The woman just says whatever she wants to say. She can call you any name, say whatever she wants to say, however she wants to say, right? But the man I swear, the minute he says a woman should be anywhere around the kitchen, watch the comment section light up. So, and that's where we are today. So it's not that it could not have been sexist. It's just that that was created to control the narrative so we move an agenda, right? It's the same thing, homophobia. All of these things are created not so that these people have peace. It's so we can move the narrative. So we're not arguing if it's good or it's right, if it's bad, it's correct, it's this and that. We don't need that right now. If you do that, you're homophobic, you're sexist, you're misogynist, you're that, you're this. So people don't like those titles. People don't like those adjectives. So they just stay them quiet. They just stay and don't involve in the conversation. Some of us, Kwakuro, we die here.
Okay, and then I'm just going to move into my last question, and then we'll come back for a conclusion. There is actually, and I think, and I'm saying this because the whole, and for those who are joining late, because a few people are just joining us, but there's actually a book, and that was written and asking, and the title of the book is "Are Fathers Necessary?" And if you get a copy of that book, from what I was able to read online, it's talking about how children don't need a father figure in their life to thrive, and it's been discussed, a lot over the years. And I think that when I just stumbled across this a couple of days ago, and I was just like, oh, hold on a minute, this is very different from what I know, and I really wanted us to talk about it, and that's why I chose the title of the show, "Are Men Necessary?" And I think that from the conversation we've all had, the tribe and our guest, Roderick has also have a talk show on YouTube called Idle Park Talk Show. So make sure you check them out. They are. We've been talking for so long on this show about listening to men's opinions, and men generally to have a male voice in our community. And I think these young men from Canada have really found their niche, and I'm really proud of you guys for that. And I hope that a lot more of us go and subscribe so that we also hear how men think. And we have obviously the Tres 14 is here, but then what we're talking about tonight is really asking these questions. We've just celebrated Father's Day, and in our community, if we're honest ourselves, a lot of us saw a lot of women celebrate themselves on Father's Day, and that, as a woman, that has never really sat well with me, just because a woman will never be a man. That's it. That's mine. For me, it's physiological. You're a woman, you're a man. A woman celebrates Mother's Day, a man celebrates Father's Day. Yes, some single parents are trying to straddle both roles, but it is what it is. Physiologically, biologically, you really just, a woman can be a man can be a woman. So that's my point of view on that. But for the purpose of this conversation, I've been seeing that there is, and because we are Africans living in the diaspora, and I can see how this effeminization, as we've chosen to call it tonight, of men is creeping into our communities. A lot of we are all picking up that strong, powerful African woman mantra that our mothers wear that, but they never let it overshadow the roles that our fathers played in our lives. I can say that for a fact. But due to the circumstances and where we find ourselves, we are having to kind of do that. A lot of marriage relationships are breaking up, and we're finding ourselves in the context of the Western life. But are we aware of what it could potentially do to our community, our culture, us as Cameroonians, as Africans generally? Are we aware? And because I just want us to really wake up, because just if you go on the Daily Mail recently, for those in the UK, there's an article where in some schools in the UK on Father's Day, they didn't celebrate it as Father's Day. They called it Special Person Day. So are we sitting and slowly accepting this narrative that men will soon be obsolete or not be necessary in our lives? And what damage could that have on our offspring? Not necessarily us, we are formed, but our offspring. So I'm just, that's the angle that I'm looking at it like. And what you guys think of this thing where that I've just said, where Father's Day is in some parts of the world is no longer called Father's Day. They claim inclusivity. The reasoning they give for that is inclusivity. So they want the children who don't have fathers in their lives, not to feel bad on Father's Day. But what about on Mother's Day? Why didn't we think of changing that name to Special Woman Day, as well? I mean, these double standards are more, I guess, for me, are some of the things that I'm curious about, and I wonder if you guys are seeing it as I see it, or, and the floor is open.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go, Tres. Go.
Oh, Tres, go.
Like I said, it's an agenda, right? And the goal is to effeminize men, right? The goal is pretty much, I would say, to just destroy male. If if somebody would write, "Are men necessary?" Do you know what it took for them to even think that we are not necessary before they even thought about it, right?
The audacity of it, because imagine if you wrote a book and said, "Are women necessary?"
Exactly. This world will burn 3 times over if you ever did something like that. And that's why I keep telling people in the comment section that what you can do and say to men, you cannot even begin to do and say to women in this day and age. So everybody that's saying it, these things are dictionary, I'm looking at the comments and people are reacting. I'm just laughing because they're double standards. Like you said about the school in the UK, it's piecemeal. It's, how do we say in pidgin? Now small. Right? So they're doing this, they're just slowly introducing it. Sooner or later, there's going to be a movie, then there's going to be a show, then it becomes an everyday thing. People get comfortable with it, and then we accept it. And then before you know it, they don't longer call it Father's Day. There was a fight to say Christmas Day is no longer a Christmas Day. They say, in America, they say happy holidays because they don't want to upset non-Christians, so they don't say Merry Christmas. There are places where if you tell somebody Merry Christmas, they take offense, right? And that's the same narrative they keep injecting into people. Eliminate fathers. Let's take them out of the picture. But we are here to fight that fight. There's no way. What kind of world will we have without men? How do we reproduce? Sperms don't grow on tree. They like to call us sperm donors and stuff. They come from a man. Right? So when you say, are men necessary, how do you then reproduce? Any species that cannot reproduce, it's a danger to itself. So anybody that sits and asks, am I as a man necessary, is a threat to itself. Because you're saying you cannot reproduce, which means that at some point, your end that would be the end of you. Right? And that we have to have a conversation in 2021 to justify the existence of men tells you how modern we've probably gone further than the aliens, right? We're here justifying if men, because a few, how many fathers are deadbeat? That's the small group of people that has painted bad name for every man that exists. How many women are killed by a significant order that's a male? That's the statistics that's being used to categorize every relationship. Right? When we had this conversation about suicide, men suffer the most suicide. Men are most depressed. Men do the most risky jobs. Men are the most incarcerated people. Men are the ones who fight the most war. What is it that people want to talk to me about men suffering? Because we don't wear it on our shoulders. And then you have the audacity to come and ask if we're useful, if we are needed. If there are no men, the world as it is ceases to end. Ceases to exist. Sorry, you're muted already.
And I hear you loud and clear, and and I'll flip this story now round and say, speak to the few men, speak to those few men that are giving the majority of men bad names. And what would you say to those men, especially for the women, and to the women who have experienced those, horrible.
It is rather unfortunate that some women have had to endure, right? There's no man, no human being is perfect, right? We siblings argue, I don't know, twins argue, best friends argue. So it's not acceptable to think that a man and a woman are not going to argue. The problem is when they take it out of hand. So it's rather unfortunate that some women have had to lose their life because those, me and Roger would probably call them those feminized men could not handle or have a communication with their woman. To the fathers who are not present in their kids' life, it is such a joy, right? I have 3 kids. My start and end is my kids. I live every second for them, right? That's why I decided to make them, right? I fight for them, I breathe for them. It is such an amazing fulfillment when you see the happiness that these kids have because of your own very existence. So I would tell those fathers that make peace with your kids. Talk to your kids, be part of your kids' life, right? As you can hear me, I'm not talking about any other individual but the kid, because that's who's important, that's who matters, right? So, but how do we even get those fathers on the table? We lower the temperature, right? We throw water and charcoal on those people that are assuming father roles when they're not fathers, right? We bring those fathers in the shadow on the table and say, okay, bro, how can I help you be a better father? How can I be a role model for you? So when we post pictures, we post pictures of us traveling with our kids, communicating. We talk to one another. I call my friend up. Have you texted your kid? Have you seen your kid? Have you wished them happy birthday? They then start doing those things. Or they see me do the things I do with my kids, and then they replicate that. That's positive reinforcement. What this narrative of I am a mother and I'm a father does is negative reinforcement. And as with mostly everything liberal and modern, it always comes with negative reinforcement and the annihilation of the male person, right? They want to relegate us to the back, especially the men who are strong, who have that strong personality. We are the enemy. When you tell a woman that you're an alpha, a strong woman, that you're an alpha, I swear to God, see the reaction. And that's where we are as a country. That's where we are in the world, right? So the men that are not there, we need to continue reinforcing and encouraging that it's amazing, right? It's amazing to be part of your child's life. It's a fulfillment that nobody can explain to you. You have to live it to feel it. You understand? So I can only encourage them. I can only fight this fight and see them join me in the fight. Then I tell them that you don't only join me in the fight, you have to do the work. Disregard whatever they're doing. You have to go there and do the work. And the last part of this, I would tell those women who have shunned the men that they have kids by, because we need to accept that there are women who have actually refused that the man be in the child's life, right? Mommy, woman, sister, please let your heart be softened, right? This man did not leave his child. He left you. You guys had irreconcilable differences. You separated. That is okay. It hurts. Move on. But let this child have the possibility to know where they're coming from, know their father, right? And you cannot force it. If the man does not want to be part of the child's life, that's where we come in. We try to encourage the man from that. But don't be an obstacle. I mean, we beg, no be obstacle. Let fathers connect with their kids without your interference. You don't have a role or a say in their relationship. They have a relationship, you have a relationship. You're not the referee, you're not the overseer, you're just the mother. That's all I have to say.
Thanks so much, Tres. And so, Roderick, are fathers necessary?
Yeah, I think Trez has said a lot of what I wanted to say. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous that we're asking such questions in modern times. It's fathers have always been necessary from the beginning of time to the end of the world. But yeah, it speaks a lot to our culture right now, where men are looked upon as being disposable. You can pick them up and kick them out when you want. Um, and there could be many reasons for that. And I just want to piggyback on what Trey said about um, women not letting kids, not letting the fathers be part of the kids' life. That is so prevalent in the West, and I'm beginning to see it creep in the African context as well, where women are weaponizing the child to get back to the dad. And their main focus is on hurting the dad, that they don't even think that they're hurting the children too. Do you imagine being a child and you're having to decide to pick between your mom and your dad? What a terrible feeling. I don't think that is fair on any child growing up in this world now. And this attitude too is supported by the family court system, which is totally in favor of the woman. You know, women going into a court case, it's not a 50% chance that the man is going to get access to his case. It's almost like a 70-30% chance, with the man having 30%. So the family court system is totally against men nowadays. It's already holds the women as the de facto parent, or the parent by default, before they even listen to the case, which is very terrible. And a lot of men are suffering of this pain in silence. You imagine paying child support, you paying alimony, but a woman gets to dictate how and when you see your child. That's absolutely terrible. So it's really sad, and not to say there's a lot of deadbeat dads there who have done a lot of bad things to women. Of course there are, but I dare say most dads want to be in the life of their children. That is a natural instinct that comes to fatherhood, especially for men who are prepared to be fathers. They want to be part of the children's life. It's just circumstances that may not be facilitating that. So for all those circumstances that are not facilitating that, we'll try to address them. If it's lack of finances or lack of the means, be a man, step up, get a job, try to do something that the woman is going to see valuable in the child's life. If it's you, the woman, that is preventing the child from getting to know the father because you're trying to weaponize that relationship, you should think of the child. The child is the most important part of that relationship, So there are many things that can go into this, but I think it's a ridiculous question to ask nowadays, and it just tells us where our society is right now.
And one final question, which is a fourth question to you, Trace. What about fathers who choose not to be a part of the child's life in the name of punishing the mother?
And that's sad, but that's the reality where we find ourselves: mother trying to punish father, father trying to punish mother. And if I have the opportunity to have, we're trying to set up a men's conference to talk about these issues, because we need to talk about these issues, because we need to mold strong men. We need to build strong men who are not going to continue in this narrative, so we can actually literally solve a problem. You cannot punish your ex through your child. It's not possible. There's no punishment that you're inflicting, not seeing your child and it's tormenting your ex. No, you're tormenting your child. You're punishing your child, and you're not exhibiting love. And if we had a man's card that we were giving out to men, it would be time for us to take our man's card back, right? So it's education and reinforcement. You do not punish somebody. You don't pass. Punishment is not transferred, right? If you want to punish your ex, punish your ex. Let the child not be there. I don't know why you want to punish your ex. You've moved on, carry on with your life, go date somebody else, right? But you cannot transfer punishment to another person, because it's going to directly, not even indirectly, affect that child. So you're directly affecting your own child, your own blood, right? And we need to be able to put that picture in front of these men and let them understand that you're essentially punishing your baby, and you need to stop. And there's a question of, if the man was a sexual offender, does the woman let the the child know their father. The child should know their father. It is not your place. I don't want to see women making decisions on whether the child should know this. Look, the only exception is this. If the man raped the woman and she decided to keep the baby, right? Then that should be a decision on the woman if she wants to tell the child who the father is. I think that should be the only exception in cases of rape. But that the man is a sexual offender in this country can be anything. It does not mean you violated somebody. You can be taking a piss next to a school at 2 a.m. in the morning, and they will label you a sexual offender. That does not mean you're a risk to your children. It does not mean you were out here violating people or kids. So let's not start nitpicking and saying, okay, if they're sexual offender, if they're criminal, if they're this country labels anybody for anything. Don't be the judge and decision maker for if your child can see their father. If they're criminal, they'll be in jail. And let the child know when they're of age that this is the crime that your father committed, and let the child make the decision. There are kids who catch the bus and go miles to go visit their parents in jail, their father that murdered somebody. And the kid wants to know, what is it about my father? What did you do? So don't obstruct the child. Guide the child. Don't stand and say, oh, it's a sexual offender, is this, is that. You're not gonna know your father. That's also part of the problem. So as much as we tell men that step in, I need to see more women. We need to see more women step up in the community and teach their younger sisters and teach their friends that this child needs to know their father. Oftentimes what we see and why this is degenerating and getting worse is because women are enablers of other women. When a woman does wrong, women support. Strong women, let's stand up, let's rally behind our sisters. Women are not that thing you say, I'm my brother's keeper, I'm my sister's keeper. I don't see that with women. I don't see women saying that this thing that you're doing is wrong and I cannot be for it. We need more of that, women holding women accountable. Because when a man holds a woman accountable, they label him. So let men step back a little bit and watch women hold other women accountable. Let's be each other's keeper. Let's build our community and stop the influx of other people's influences into our community. Our community is all we have. If you want to do Western stuff, go over there and go do it. They have their community, go mix and see whether they will accept you. We are always going to be us. We live here, but we are still us.
Yeah.
We still go to Cameroonian functions. We still do stuff only among us. That is our community. So we should build that community to represent us, our kids, and the future generation. We already have second generation American, Cameroonian American kids. We are pushing third generation Cameroonian American kids. So we are building a small village here. Let's have a narrative. In 100 years, let them have a small community of Cameroonians that you can see the history. You can see a legacy that has been passed down. But it starts with each other, keeping each other accountable, right? That's what we need to do as a community.
Right. Thank you so much, Chris. Wow, we've spent almost 2 hours here, and the comments just keep. You guys keep chatting in the comments. I really appreciate that. We've kept the conversation going in so many different ways, and our question was, I hope you got. I know we got distracted down the lines, but the thing is, you can't really talk about fathers being necessary without talking about men being men. You know, we need to take all of that into consideration to understand who the man is and why he is necessary in the child's life. So I guess in conclusion, we all agree that men are necessary, right? But yeah, and for our guys, like Tres said, and like so many people said in the comments, we are Cameroonians, we are Nigerians, we're Ghanaians, we're Kenyans living in a Western world. The white man's world that we live in will never look at us like you're British, you're fully American, you're fully German, or you're fully French. Nope, you're always going to be the African So it's important that we find little ways that we can to keep our culture and hold on to it, and not let the minority, be the louder voice, because there's a handful of men. 75 or 85% of our men are good men. We are married, we're in homes, raised in, two family homes, and there's just a handful, and we cannot let that be our story. And well, not that we are minimizing the work, the effort that the people find themselves in single parent homes, the hurdles that they have to climb every day to just show up for these children. No, we're not. But we're saying that we need to embrace the good that a two-parent home, as I think nature designed it, is the benefit it has for us as humans, as generally. So thank you guys so much, Trez and Roderick. Again, if you haven't subscribed to Idle Park Talk Show on YouTube, please go subscribe. And that we finally have a voice, the male voice in the community. I'm sure Trace is going to be part of you guys soon. So invite him on your show, and
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
your
So this is
other guys,
this is an
Trace.
official invitation. Trez, we're going to be getting in contact with you. You can come on that show and have these conversations. Like you said, it's Idle Park Talk Show. Idle Park, one word, talk show. It's on YouTube. You can find us there. We're coming out with some nice teas. It's going to be out there, but we really like your subscription. It's going to go a long way. It helps us with the algorithm. So please subscribe on our channel, share our page, and we appreciate your love already.
And like this show, I mean, not just give me hearts, just click on the like button so we go from 18 likes to like the number of you who have watched. And yeah, and Vera, your comments, we're talking, we are Afrocentric on this platform, and so we talk to, a father is a father regardless of race, yes, but on this platform, now we talk to our African brothers and sisters. But honestly, it's been great. Thank you guys. Trez, do you have any final words before we say good night to everybody?
No, it's been amazing exchange. The comments were very respectful, and I love when people disagree, but they keep it civil, where we can have an exchange. I love that. I love, because I don't like when everybody just agrees with you. I feel like I'm lying to them. So I love when I see people disagree. It means that we have a lot of more work to do to get people where we want to get them. So it's been an interesting show, and keep up the good work. And Roderick, nice to meet you. And yeah, let's connect. I'll hit you up because I love that kind of platform. We need to talk to our brothers. We need to talk to men to step it up. We need to get men to be the role models and the leaders that women want us to be. So we need shows like this, because those of us that are in front leading those women, we get the best ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note, thanks guys so much. I'm going to close with you guys, so I won't send you behind the scenes, but we will be taking this show to Clubhouse. I'm just warning you now, because we will be taking it to Clubhouse. We want to open it to a wider audience and see if we can talk to, so if you're not yet on Clubhouse, make sure you join Clubhouse. If you haven't already, I don't know why you're waiting for that. You haven't subscribed to my channel. On YouTube, please go and subscribe before I bring my Nigerian accent. Go and subscribe on the Goretti Experience on YouTube. If you enjoy this, just subscribe, But thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And for all those, the regular, the tribe, you guys are amazing. Thank you for holding this show down. And Roderick and Trez, it's been a pleasure. And hopefully I'll meet you on Idle Park Talk Show sometime in the future. Make sure you like, subscribe on our pages. Thank you, and have a good night. God bless everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers.